Welcome back to the poker vlog. This is episode number 150. Pretty awesome that we've made it to this many episodes. Kind of a cool milestone. I appreciate everybody who's been there or watched from the beginning. Be sure to stick around to the end of this because I have several tips and announcements to make. All right, let's go ahead and get started. What an absolutely gorgeous day on the strip. What makes it even more special is that for the first time since I started the YouTube channel 4.5 years ago, I have the green light to film live poker hands at Aria. I'm so pumped up for the session and to share it with you guys. Aria is a premier property. The poker room is about as nice as it gets, where they regularly have some of the biggest names playing the highest stakes. We'll be playing slightly smaller stakes today. I buy into the 2-5 for 1,000, which is the max. There's no waiting around to get involved. We pick up pocket aces during the first orbit. I open to 15 from under the gun. There's no shortage of customers. It's like a Chick-fil-A at lunchtime. The cutoff calls, the button calls, the small blind calls, and the big blind calls. We've got an entire polo team worth of opponents coming after us. That's considered the sport of kings. Well, we can beat kings, especially when the flop comes ace 8-3 rainbow. We have top set in a 5-way pot. Welcome to the Aria. Small blind and big blind check. I have to figure out how to make the maximum despite having 3/4 of the aces and there being almost no realistic draws that my opponent should have. If I had fewer opponents, I might check. With 4 other people in the hand, I bet 20. It's about a quarter of the pot, just to spice things up, give opponents a chance to make a mistake by calling or raising when they could be drawing dead or near dead. I'm surprised that I don't even get by one player. The cutoff calls, I like it. The button folds, the small blind calls. We have 2 people who don't like money so far. I have no idea what these guys will have, but I hope that they get whatever they're looking for on the turn. The big blind folds, 3 of us are still in it. The dealer puts out the 4 of hearts. 5 deuce makes it straight, but there isn't any reason that either opponent should have that. The small blind checks. It's time to bet real amounts. I make it 75. There are 2 opponents and only 1 more ace in the deck. I'm hoping someone slow played a set of 8s or 3s. The cutoff definitely didn't, or he just made the best laydown in the history of poker. The small blind may have something. He gathers chips and calls. He has 325 left in his stack. Perhaps he's strong, or maybe he's just a non-believer. We're heads up. The river is the 10 of diamonds. We still have the second nuts. The opponent checks. He has just over a pot-sized bet left in his stack. He's going to have an opportunity to play for all of it if he wants. I jam to see if he actually has something or is interested in looking me up light. As soon as the all-in card is tossed to me, the player folds. He later tells me that his name is Levi from Houston. He wanted to make the vlog, called with a backdoor flush draw on the flop, turned to flush draw, then hit a 10 on the river. Congratulations, Levi. You made it, and you got disdominated. We're up immediately and have high hopes of booking another big win. Unfortunately, we run very cold for a while before picking up 8-7 of hearts in the cutoff. It's a straddle pot. Levi and his buddy limp in, looking for pain. I'm a lead certified supplier of that. I raised to 65. I haven't been dealt any good cards in a long time, but the opponents don't necessarily know that. They could be thinking that I'm playing extremely tight, which should cause my raise to get a lot of respect. I expect to take this down without a fight fairly often. The problem is that the button has been working out a ton. He's in the best shape of his life as a 65-year-old. He's actively searching for a fight. He 3-bets to 185. Scratch that idea about my raise getting respect. The limpers fold. I'm not so sure the button has anything. I don't want to call for about 20% of our effective stack sizes, play a large pot from out of position. I go with my gut and decide I'm going to take advantage of my image and 4-bet. If I happen to be up against aces, I actually have one of the best hands to crack them with. I'll win almost a quarter of the time. All in. All in. All in. Just kidding. I pretty much fold immediately. That audio was taken from the first hand. I'm sure the button has a monster. He doesn't seem like a guy who 3-bets people light often. I switch tables after, but not much changes for me in terms of what I'm dealt. I just try to patiently wait it out. Since that first hand with the aces, I've been running real cold for about the last 2 hours, and that's always been something that's been tough for me to manage, especially when I was first kind of taking poker seriously. I wanted to force things, and I'm trying not to do that, but also when I'm making videos, I tend to kind of want to force things a little bit more as well, just so I can have some interesting hands. Otherwise, won't be that good of a vlog.
Brad Owen, what up?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
Big fan of the channel.
Thanks, man. What's your name?
D.
D? Nice to meet you, dude. How are you doing today?
I'm just getting started. I'm right over here.
All right, dude.
Wish me luck.
Good luck, dude.
You too.
All right, heading back to the table. Hopefully things will pick up a little bit. And they do, as we pick up a couple of cowboys on the button. We're riding at night because we sleep all day, My girlfriend hates the Cowboy sleep schedule, and so does my mom. At this new table, the most action guy here opens at 30 from middle position. He's been making comments about me not playing hands, which is something that I don't necessarily like him pointing out because it could cause me not to get action from other opponents. The best way to take advantage of his perception of me is to bluff a little bit more. I'm happy to do that if I can pick up some medium strength starting hands. Unfortunately, I don't think it's considered a bluff when I 3-bet to 90 with kings. I imagine it'll be tough for me to get called. The player folds. It's a bit disappointing. I'm glad to at least drag in a pot though. Later I find a good spot with ace-7 of hearts to potentially bluff the player from the last hand big if I have to. Right now, I'm not going to get paid if I make a big hand. That's just the reality of it. That's going to take out a large portion of my strategy to win. In order to reverse that, I have to show a willingness to get involved more, which I'm happy to do on my own terms when the timing is right. The opponent before min raises a 10 from middle position. I have a decent hand and I'm in position with the suited ace. Seems like the timing's right here. I 3-bet to 50. If I get called, I'm pretty much going to c-bet on almost all boards. The opponent calls this time for 40 more. We're heads up. The flop comes king 3 deuce with 2 hearts. We flop the nut flush draw with 1 over and a backdoor straight draw. The middle position player checks. I'm certainly continuing. All I do is look at my chips and reach towards them with my left hand, and the opponent folds a better ace face up as if to say he knows I probably had the nuts. I actually wish I had an even worse hand to show him.
Ace 10? Yeah, ace 7. Yeah, you did.
Now, if you'd like to see me get dealt a premium hand, then on the count of 3, put your nose on the like button and click it at the same time to see what happens. I'll give you a second to get situated. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, your face is being attacked by Marvin. But what you did absolutely helped. We pick up ace king in the cutoff. It folds to me. I'm going to bump it up. I raised to 15. The button says $15 isn't cool. You know what's cool? $55. That's what he 3-bets to. The big blind apparently has something good. He cold calls the 3-bet. There's an interesting situation. If the big blind had aces or kings, he would have 4-bet. I should be ahead or just about flipping with him. The button could have theoretically been 3-betting me light since I opened in the cutoff and will generally have a wide range. The pot is already getting relatively large. I 4-bet to 225. We're going to see if the button really has anything. I'm happy to take this down now if he doesn't. It isn't going to be that easy for us. The button calls. He's played fairly tight up to this point. Part of me believes that he could be trapping with aces or kings since he only has 575 left in his stack. He could also have ace king or ace queen suited, queens, jacks, possibly even 10s. The big blind's having trouble parting with his cards. He takes one last gander, punishes them with a hard flick, then tosses them back to the dealer. We're heads up in a 4-bet pot out of position. The flop is jack 10-9 with 2 spades. We've got a gut shot straight draw with 2 overs and a backdoor flush draw. Sounds like a lot of things. It's not all that great for us though. In general, this will smash the button's range. The only hand that I beat that I put him on is ace queen. Even that is good for an open-ended straight draw. I check because betting won't get better hands to fold or worse hands to call. The button takes the few black and green chips that he has left in his stack and goes all in for 575. So for a pot-sized bet, occasionally he could have the same hand as me. More often than not, I expect to be crushed. No need to force anything. I fold. I was hoping to win that one since it's the biggest pot of the night so far. Instead, I'm stuck 300. I add on to get back to 1,000. Then quite a bit of time passes before we pick up ace-queen offsuit in the hijack. I'm happy to see another strong hand after seeing mostly racks this session. I open to 20. The due to keep drawing attention to how few hands I played is in the big blind. He isn't going to tangle with me. He has more words though.
Show you?
The guy isn't wrong. I haven't played very many hands today. Sometimes there's just not much you can do. I throw in the white towel and call it a day. I lost $395 over 5 hours of playing. Got a couple of really good hands. Got the aces in the beginning. That's when the session peaked. And then a lot of really bad hands and not much in between. So I wasn't in too many good spots today. But happy with how I played. Happy I didn't really force anything. And kind of just kept the loss to a minimum. And I think that's, you know, equally or maybe even more important to stay level-headed, not lose your cool than you know, when you're trying to win the maximum. So losing the minimum, just as good as a win. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons because it helps out the channel quite a bit. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm happy to get back to you. I want to give a big thanks to Aria and Sean McCormick in particular for giving me the green light to film. This was the first time that I've ever had live footage from Aria, so that's awesome. Unfortunately, it didn't quite do the action in the room justice. I ran really cold, so I'm gonna have to go back there and film at least one more time and hopefully several more times in the future. I still think it's important to make vlogs of this session. I choose beforehand whether or not I'm going to make a vlog. So sometimes the pots aren't that big or the situations that I'm in aren't that interesting. But it is important to show that stuff because it happens to everybody. And I think that that's where the biggest edge in poker comes from, is when things aren't going your way. Maybe you're running cold, maybe it's your 5th or 6th or 7th losing session in a row and you're questioning everything about what you know about the game, and you feel like you've forgotten how to play and may not ever win again. I assure you that you will, and if you're able to stick to your game plan, stick to your normal strategy, provided that it's a winning one, then that's gonna go a long way. And if you're playing 5-10 or below, that's probably, you know, the biggest difference in where you're making money. If you're running well, you're probably not making that much more than your opponents that are not as good at poker players when they're running well. But if you can lose the minimum when you're running terribly bad and your opponents aren't, then you know your hourly is going to be significantly different. So just try and keep that in mind and embrace it when things aren't going well, and just know that you're going to be making more money than your opponents if you stay level-headed. So yeah, just keep that in mind. All right, one last thing is that YouTube gave me a strike and they pulled one video. They actually tried to pull 2 videos, but one of them I won the appeal on. It's become a very frustrating platform for poker vloggers in general. There's some chance that I'm gonna have to switch platforms, so follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram in case there's any updates in that regard. Hope you're all doing well. One thing I want to say, I don't anticipate switching platforms in the near future, but just if that ever happens, if for some reason YouTube just pulls all my videos and gives me 3 strikes, then I'm gonna be out. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter in case that ever happens. Hopefully it doesn't. Good luck at the tables. Hope you're staying safe, and I'll see you next time.